Hello, hello, 180th Fighter Wing family. Thank you so much for watching this video. And also, big shout out to Lammy, Lieutenant Lammy. You've been so responsive and so quick. Thank you, man. For real, it means a lot. I want to talk to you guys about the Grypmat maintenance kit. We'll be developing new products for the Air Force. So what we're doing is we're working with AFWERX. It's the innovation hub of the Air Force. Basically, they're giving money out to companies to create products that are going to make our airmen more efficient. So my background is I was 9 years of a weapons troop, and the way I know how to make our airmen more efficient is through maintenance. So that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So current product, it's a flexible non-slip tool tray. It's really grippy, so it'll grip on a curved surface. We got 3 standard sizes, and it's also acting as a visual management. So keeps that mechanic organized while working instead of scattering tools all over the jet or underneath the hood of a car or anything like that. So yeah, focuses. I want to talk about boom operations, cockpit practices, tech data placement, FOD/tool control, and airman optimization. The number one maintenance mishap is tech data. Basically, airmen not following their tech data. The number 3 maintenance mishap is FOD and tool control. So I am a madman on a mission to solve those issues, or at least help optimize our airmen to get those issues down as much as we can. So for starters, boom operations. When you are up in a lift, it might be, at the 180th, you guys have the scissors lift, as well as the one with stairs. Those are great pieces of equipment, but when you're up there, you're at a very high risk for dropping tools. For one, as you can see in this picture, typically what's happening is there's no place to set your tools. So you're setting your tools and your tech data and your hardware on the ground, where you can very easily kick it. As you can see, it's pretty crowded on those lifts. So there's limited space for equipment. Being lifted high up, if you drop something, that's really magnifying our FOD issue because it could easily bounce and go anywhere. I did a job with an electrical mechanic out at the 180th, and we were changing out a light, and I was terrified of simply just putting a bolt on a nut, because if I dropped it, it's going right through that great flooring, and that's great flooring for the rain to fall through. Well, also hardware falls through as well. So another thing is when you're up here that you have minimum access to tech data. So the best case scenario is you have a mechanic setting tools on, or setting the tech data on the ground, or struggling it in their hand, which they're not going to do. So my solution to this problem is what I call the boom tray. Basically a tray that will open up and attach to those railings. I made a quick prototype. I made this years ago. So as you can see, this would basically latch onto that top rung, and then I haven't added it yet, but an arm that would come down to attach to that middle rung. So if you can see where his hands are, his right hand is where where basically it would hook on, and then that middle rung is where it would the arm would reach down to. So this arm here would be adjustable. So it basically could go on any type of lift, if that's the scissor lift, or if that is your scissor lift, or the stair lift, or if you do have a man lift like this. So cockpit issues. What I want to talk about with this is there's 3 main cockpit issues. 1, limited space for equipment. A lot of guys are setting it inside the cockpit, which is not a good idea because it's very easy to lose hardware. 2, airmen are being placed in uncomfortable situations or uncomfortable areas. Therefore, they have to take frequent breaks because they're typically resting on the railing, and that is bruising their chest. A egress guy from the 180 showed me a picture. It looked like someone hit him in the chest with a bat. It's pretty wild. Another thing is, this is causing them, 1, it's hurting the airmen. 2, it's causing them to do frequent breaks. 3, there's not really a place to set your tech data. Guys are setting it on the seat, or if you're in the seat, you're sitting on your lap while also trying to juggle multiple tools. So my solutions to these problems are: one, the cockpit tray. This attaches to the outside of this different tray. This attaches to the outside of the aircraft. So if you can imagine, basically, this is designed for the hooks on the canopy. Basically, this latches on to the inside of the cockpit, and will basically, as you can see, his left hand, this tray would be holding, would be resting where his left hand is. So basically, holding tools on the outside of the aircraft, holding any tech data, keeping it at eye level, which is really important. And basically, with the AFWERX funding, I made this like 4 years ago. We could create something that would not damage anything, any rails or anything on the aircraft or on the cockpit. So the other product is what I call the railing pad. So this is a pad that form fits on the rails of the aircraft that basically when they are on the aircraft, leaning on, putting their chest on there, it's adding 2 inches of memory foam to to not have those sharp corners, really hurt the mechanic. So right now they're using their coat, they're using a piece of foam or anything like that to do so, where every time they get up it falls down, or it's not really providing the the padding that they need. So custom grip mats, we can make them military grade. We can make them, sizes, different sizes depending on your tools, to make them, maybe depending on the length of a speed handle or torque wrench. Also making them durable, chemical resistant for the chemicals used by military mechanics, for the F-16 mechanics. Also custom color. So with the reflector belts, they're color coordinated depending on the shop. Weapons is bright orange, so potentially we could do the same thing as a visual communication. Or you see grip mats on that aircraft, okay, they're bright orange, we know that's weapons, that's on aircraft 707 or whatever it is. Also, basically providing tech data placement on top of the aircraft. I noticed earlier today that this picture is actually from the 180. I think it's from the 180th. But this airman is struggling to stand on the aircraft, let alone juggle tools and hold a piece of tech data. So in the commercial world, in the racing industry, they actually use grip mats to hold their computers on, so the computer won't scratch their race car, which I was like, wow, we could use the same thing for tech data placement on top of the aircraft. Because me as a mechanic, I know the struggle of like the mechanic versus QA wanting you to follow that tech data, wanting you to make sure you're placing tools in the right place. But at the same time, as a mechanic, there's not an option out there right now. So yeah, one thing about that I wanted to add about these grip mats is grip mats in all of these products is that they are very few products that are doing FOD control and tool control during maintenance. Usually the products are doing tool control post maintenance. If that is a Shadow Toolbox or TC Max, those products are fantastic, but you're checking the tool in at the end of the day, where you could be working on a jet for hours. And if you don't have, if you have something that's helping you keep your tools contained the entire time, that is going to have, make it have a ripple effect. It's going to have a ripple effect that's going to make it much easier to keep your tools in order. So yeah, attachment. So attachment, as you can see, this basically clips on the wall of the grip mat. So this is a magnet that you could put mostly your tools, like sockets and stuff. Obviously the grip mat or the F-16 is aluminum, so that's the magnet's not going to help there. But it would also, you could take it off if there's any issues of it like messing with radar. And this picture on the right, as you can see, the magnet is strong enough to hold the grip mat on the side of the toolbox. So where this is key at is when you are adding this to your CTK, adding this to your toolbox, you can simply just have it stored on the side of the toolbox. So you could do an outline of the product instead of putting it into the shadow box. One, oftentimes the toolboxes are full. Two, it is very hard to add a product to a shadow box. Shadow boxes are great, they're just hard to update, really. So this would be seamless CTK integration, along with next thing is a container attachment. The grip mat has handles, so you could easily move your workstation. This is something that's going to snap shut to make sure when you're moving your workstation, whether it's one side of the jet to the other or moving your workstation up a lift, this will snap shut to confirm that you will not lose any of that hardware or any FOD, or basically also it can help contain safety wire. So that is everything that I have for you guys. Really excited to be part of AFWERX. What I'm very passionate about is making our Air Force as efficient as possible. I see all the time where politics, one side's wanting higher budget, the other side's wanting a lower budget, but no one's asking the question, how do we make our Air Force, our military more efficient? So that's why I'm super excited to be working with AFWERX and creating new products for our airmen. So feel free to reach out to me at any time. That's my phone number and also my email. So again, thank you for listening. And again, Lieutenant Lammy, thank you so much. So I'll see you guys. Bye.